So we have August of 2023 in the books. It is done, and we're moving on to September. It is a good time to take a look at the different stock portfolios that I manage and look at the performance of those stock portfolios compared to the S&P index as well as the NASDAQ index. My name is Victor. I have an MBA and a lot of business experience. And if you watch my videos, you can see that I do a lot of deep analysis in companies, trying to find companies that are undervalued, that are really good investments that I could put my hard-earned money into and watch my investment go up over time. Do me a big favor, like my video and subscribe to my channel. That's a big help, and I'd appreciate that. Now, this is a request that a subscriber put in as a feedback, which is to go over my portfolio and share with you the winners and the losers, companies that have been really good winners, especially in 2023, as well as the losing stocks. And that's what I'm going to do in this video. I'm going to review my portfolio, show the performance of the growth stock portfolio that I have compared to the NASDAQ and the S&P index, and then point out which stocks, frankly, which stock has been number one in the portfolio, from number one all the way to the bottom being the worst stock in the portfolio. So let me get into the review of my portfolio, starting with what my goals are of this portfolio. Now, I have four portfolios of stocks and securities. I have a growth stock portfolio. I have an income stock portfolio that has a lot of dividend stocks, a lot of like Dow-like companies. I have a bond portfolio that produces really good income. And then I have a cryptocurrency portfolio. And this is the growth stock portfolio is the biggest one. It probably represents just as much value as the other three combined. So this is the big one that I manage. And, the goals that I have for this stock portfolio is really to beat the S&P, to really have a portfolio that may have a bad year here or there, but overall it's just growing at a higher rate than I would get if I were just to buy an ETF based on the S&P. My intent is to find companies that are undervalued. I love finding companies that are kind of left for dead. They were once a really good company. They were profitable. They grew. They generated really good free cash flow, but maybe have had a couple bad years. And the market's pretty much left them for dead. Maybe they're down 80% in value. But I think that the company is a really good turnaround candidate, and I can pick them up at a really good discount. I have found a good number of companies like that have rewarded me with a very good return. And I'll point some of those companies out on my list. The other thing that I'm looking for is companies that are growing. Now, finding companies that are growing, that are super popular, like NVIDIA, that's easy. NVIDIA, everybody knows about NVIDIA, but the hard part is finding companies that are growing that are not as well known. And I'll point out a couple of those that you might be interested in taking a look at. Now, none of this is investment advice. I'm just one investor. I'm sharing my portfolio and what I'm doing for my, basically my capital, but it's not meant to be any recommendation to buy or sell any of these stocks. What's important to keep in mind about this growth stock portfolio is what are my needs out of this portfolio? First, I don't need any of this money for 5+ years. So I don't have to touch this money. I don't need it to pay my mortgage, to take vacations or anything. It's just money that is really capital that I want it to grow. I want it to create value for my family over the next 5 to 10 years. I want high returns. I'm willing to take a bad year followed by 3 great years. So that's there. Now, what's fun about having a growth portfolio is that when I'm having a really good year, and 2023 has been a great year, I take vacations and experiences. That's my reward when I have a really good year. And this year I was able to take my wife for a little over 2 weeks to Italy. It was a great trip. I'd never been to Italy. I've been to Europe a few times, but we had a great time. And it was basically, it was during a month where I made well over 6 times in that month the money that I spent in Italy. So it was really fun to be able to do that and really have the sense that I was taking that vacation for free because I was doing it at a time when my portfolio was just, returning just great returns. So it's been a fun year to invest in 2023. Growth stocks have really done well. And I look at my growth stocks in 2 ways. First, the trailing 12 months that I've had, and this again goes through last year, September through the end of August. And I look at the performance in the stocks, and it's 22.9. If I add the dividends that I've made in that period as well, 3.3. And if I take away the losses that I've had, because I've recognized some losses, selling some of my losers, I get to an 18.3 return over the last 12 months. And that's been a very acceptable return, beating the S&P, which is 16% return over the last 12 months. Not quite, meeting the NASDAQ, but I think as you see the mix in my stocks, I have both, NASDAQ pure growth stocks as well as some more Dow-like stocks as well in there. So that's a return that I'm very happy with. The year to date's even better. Year to date, my return just on stock value is up 36.2%, and add dividends that I've collected in that period of 3.2%. I've had to sell some losers, and those losses accumulated to a 13.1 negative effect on my portfolio. But when I add those up, I get a 26.2% return, which is a very good return, beating the S&P, not quite keeping up with the NASDAQ. Boy, those Magnificent Seven stocks have really pushed up the NASDAQ. But I am happy with those returns. And I'm that much wiser and informed and knowledgeable on my stocks. I'm really gunning to beat that NASDAQ by the end of the year. So I'll start with the best stock that I've had, and that's Meta, previously known as Facebook. This stock here was left for dead in 2022. It went down about 80% in value, and I just knew in my mind that it was just overly done. So I bought a lot of shares last year. I already owned shares previously, and this year to date, it's just been doing great. 138%. Go Meta. The other stock that was left for dead is Coinbase, the single, publicly traded cryptocurrency exchange. It is a cryptocurrency exchange. It's really the leader and really the only publicly traded one. So it was truly left for dead. It went down more than 90% of its value. And I thought, there's value there. If you're the only player and there's still a marketplace, you're going to have people, trading on Coinbase. And my intuition was correct. It's up 132% this year. This is one of those growth stocks that not a lot of people are paying attention to. I think people are a little afraid of cryptocurrencies right now. And frankly, I am also cautious when it comes to cryptocurrencies. But, look at this return. It's been an awesome return. Uber, I'm a big fan of Uber. I'm a customer, but I just think Uber is here to stay, and it's going to be worth a lot more money in the future. I started buying into Uber a while ago and continue to buy, especially on dips. If you look at Uber over the last 12 months, it's offered up great, purchase prices. You've had really good dips on Uber. So it's really paid off this year. DoorDash, ditto on what I just said with Uber. I love these companies that are doing ride sharing or food delivery. They have very little capital. It's just really, it's a social / technology play, which is really good to see. And Dash has just been doing great. Next one's one of my favorites, and this is one that I've been in, not when they went public, but right when the price I thought was reasonable. I started buying into Airbnb, and this year it has returned 56%. And this is one of my big bets. I think Airbnb is going to be huge. Their addressable market is massive. I'm a customer. I've been a customer. I'm also a real estate investor. I have investment properties in real estate. And for a long time, I owned 2 vacation rentals in a mountain area, and we did great with those properties. We did a lot of, positive free cash flow out of those properties, and we sold both of them at a huge gain. Now, Airbnb was our partner in that. They were just a great partner to have as a property owner. They're growing like crazy around the world and are just going to be unstoppable in that space. So I covered all my winners, all the good stuff to cover, but let's cover some of the bloody losers. And the worst one is Medical Properties Trust. And this video here got a lot of attention when I released it. And frankly, this is a high risk, high reward proposition. And believe it or not, even though it's down 37%, for a while I was up like 40% on this stock. And it just has such a volatile price. It's pretty crazy. They pay a high dividend there. I think it's down to 8.5%, but it's still really high. Now, this company here, if they survive and they get their business, back in order, this could be a multi-bagger for me. I would say that. But for now, it's been a pretty good loser this year. I'm keeping it around because I think, if they survive, it's going to be a good winner. Catalyst Pharma, this is a growing pharmaceutical company. They're profitable. They generate free cash flow. And for some reason, the market just doesn't like healthcare right now. It's pretty interesting. Healthcare in a market that we were supposed to get this recession that just, it seems to, for the last 2 years, we've said there was a recession coming. And is it going to be a soft landing, hard landing? And when we're going into recessions, healthcare stocks tend to be good. So I started buying into healthcare stocks, and this is one that is a good growing stock. But for the year to date, it's down 23%. So I still like the company. I've been buying more shares actually. So I'm going to keep buying shares because it's a good company to have. Financials, banks, boy, did they have a tough 2023, right? We had the whole increase in interest rates caused some banks to go bankrupt, and that caused an overall, fear of banks. So Midland States Bank is a good bank. They're in the Midwest. They serve their Midwest customers very well. They're profitable. They pay a really nice dividend, all that good stuff. Love the bank, but it's down 15% because there's a lot of fear in the market. PayPal, there's 100 videos online talking about PayPal. It's one of those things that, why is PayPal down? They make money, they're growing, they have great free cash flow. There's just some perception that Google and Apple are just going to take their business over, which maybe that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that the specialization that PayPal has is in the payment processing. They do a lot of things that PayPal is unique in. First one is Venmo. I use Venmo, a couple times a week, if not every other day. So I think things like Venmo, as we move to a pure digital, payment system, which means, bank, we link our banks to a partner like a Venmo. They're going to be a big winner, but I think it's going to take a little time. The next one that I'll cover on my losers is Big Five Sporting Goods. I've known Big Five for a long time. I've been an investor for some time. I've made lots of money on Big Five, and I've bought, sold. And my latest investment is because it is just unappreciated, and it's a company that makes money, and it's a company that generates high free cash and pays a high dividend. All those things said, investors do not like retail, and especially a very little known retailer. There's a lot of carnage in retail. Now I'm sticking to it when it comes to Big Five, because again, I've made money on 2 occasions and good money. I've doubled, tripled my money on Big Five, and I have a feeling that that's going to happen again. So I'm going to stick to Big Five. And the last one I'll cover on my losers is BHP, which is a mining stock. And mining stocks are, based on commodity prices, they go up and down. And BHP has been losing 5% year to date, but they pay a really high dividend. And I think the best things are going to come from mining because commodity prices are increasing. So that's a quick review of my best winners and my worst losers. Again, I'm not recommending you buy any of these stocks. I'm just an individual investor sharing my experience. Overall, 2023 has been a fun year for growth stocks, and it's been really fun to watch Meta, as an example, go from being completely counted out in 2022 to just being one of the best stocks of 2023 and being a stockholder. That's really fun. It's been fun to watch Airbnb do their thing and watch the value of Airbnb stock go up. So it's been a really fun year where a lot of things have come together. I love learning how to become a better investor. And I feel that once I analyze companies and I have a particular reason why I'm investing, I have an opportunity to make money, but I also have an opportunity to learn something. And that's certainly been over the last, 5-10 years, that's certainly been one of the returns that I get is better learning and becoming a better investor. I hope you feel the same way and you manage your portfolios. You take a look at the performance at the end of each month. I certainly do. I really like to look at every stock that I own at least twice a quarter. And looking at it doesn't mean I just glance at it. I go through the financial statements. I readdress all the principles that I use. If you watch any of my videos, my investing criteria is on 4 points. It's very clear, and I have to be, 100% about each point. So I go through and analyze each company, and that's part of my portfolio management. It's a lot of fun to have this. I feel like, I'm economically empowered, and I'm creating really my independence economically, as well as creating value for my family. So if they need anything, I'm there to provide it for them. So I appreciate you watching the video. I hope you found it interesting, and maybe it created a few ideas on how you can manage your portfolio, and maybe, how you can manage your growth stocks. Do me a big favor and like my video, and also subscribe to my channel. I'd really appreciate that. Good luck investing in 2023.